Have you ever had a moment where life just throws you a curveball, knocks you completely off your feet, and all your plans go poof? If so, you are going to relate to this adorable movie called Villa Amore, starring the lovely Eloise Mumford and the dashing Kevin McGarry. This is not just a cutesy romantic movie. This is a film that proves that even the best laid plans, when they begin to unravel and you think that all hope is lost, then sometimes something just as beautiful can take its place. So if you're ready to whisk yourself away to Italy, well, I'm already here. So if you want to join me, dive in to this adorable gem of a film, Villa Amore, then you know what to do. And that is, don't go anywhere.
When it comes to romantic movies, there's so much out there to choose. But if you follow your heart, the truth is, you can't really lose.
So we start with our leading lady, Liara, in an office, and she's talking to someone, and she's telling her that after 6 years of being with her fiancé, tomorrow they are about to get married. They're getting married in City Hall, a choice of her fiancé, because that way they can save money and put it towards a house. And after they get married, they are going on their honeymoon to Italy, and she chose Italy for her honeymoon because her parents went there backpacking years before, and they fell in love with this little villa in Rome. And her father promised her mother that he would buy it for her. But unfortunately, last year he passed away and he never got the chance to fulfill his promise. Now comes in Kyle, Liara's fiancé, and he announces that he has changed his ticket to Italy to go to Thailand instead. And he's going there alone. Woo! Way to go, Kyle. After 6 years, you don't think that she deserved a little bit better? But moving on. Liara, she is devastated, of course, and she doesn't want to go to Italy anymore. But her mother convinces her that, you know what, just go. Don't think of it as a honeymoon. Reframe it. Just think that you're going to Italy and you're just going to have a good time. So Liara decides to take her mother's advice and she flies all the way to Italy. So when she flies to Rome, the young man at the hotel desk, the concierge, he knows that she booked the honeymoon suite, so he's expecting to find her and her new husband. But realizing that something must have gone wrong, he tries his best to get all those little cutesy things out of the honeymoon suite. Things like rose petals and heart-shaped balloons. But he's not able to get rid of all of these things in time. And Liara sees them. She's a little bit saddened. And there's also a little bit of embarrassment there. Liara goes sightseeing, and how could she not? Italy is beautiful, Rome is spectacular. And she goes and sees places like the Trevi Fountain, La Bocca della Verità, which is the mouth of truth. Places where I myself have been several times because they really are beautiful. Liara asks the concierge suggestions of places where she can go and visit. The concierge suggests that she visits the best bakery in the whole of Rome. So of course she goes. And here is one of my favorite bits in the movie, when the leading man and the leading lady, they meet. And I like it that they meet almost straight away, and you don't have to get halfway through the film before they actually see each other. So Liana goes into the bakery, and as she's standing there, there is a young man bent underneath the sink, and she calls out, and he jumps up and hits his head. He gets up, he looks at her, and he calls for his cousin Luca. And he talks to his cousin Luca in not the best Italian, but I do appreciate the effort. Now we get to meet our leading man, Leo, and he is played by a staple in Hallmark movies, the very handsome Kevin McGarry. Not quite knowing what he's doing, Leo offers Liara a pastry called sfogliatella. And when she offers to pay for it, he says, nah, it's on the house, also because he doesn't know how to work the till. Liara thinks that the pastry is absolutely delicious, and la sfogliatella, it is. He says it's the second best in the whole of Rome. And she says, okay, so where's the first? And he says that the best sfogliatella you can find in Capenna, in a bakery which belongs to his grandmother. She is taken aback because Capenna is the exact place where her mother and father went backpacking and where they saw this villa that they had fallen in love with. Liara packs to go home because her stay is over. And while she's on the way to the airport, we can only imagine, she sees a bus which says Capenna. And she decides to take a detour to go and visit this little town. Once there, she sees the bakery and she says, okay, well, I might as well go and try la sfogliatella and see if it really is the best. And she buys one and she loves it. There is a heat wave in Italy, so please forgive me, but ooh, this is too much. Liara walks around Capenna and she comes across those places that sells houses for €1. And when she's looking at all the different houses up for sale, she comes across the house that her parents fell in love with all those years ago. And on a whim, she decides to buy it for €1. Now, this made me smile a little bit because although they cost €1, there are lots of rules and regulations in buying these houses. And although you spend €1, when it comes to doing it up and everything, it can cost you hundreds of thousands. So it really isn't something that you go into on a whim. On foot, on her way, walking to go and see her new purchase, her new villa. Who should pass by but Leo? And he stops and he gives her a lift to go and see a new house. And on the way, she tells him about her ex-fiancé Kyle and how she never did anything impulsive. It wasn't really her style or character, but she was happy that she bought the house. When they pull up, and she sees the outside of it, and when she sees how run down and dilapidated it is, I think reality kind of kicks in and she realized what she had just done. Also on her property, she finds a donkey, which is a strange thing to find, I must admit. Leo, who's obviously a bit more realistic, he tells her exactly what she has gotten herself into and that she has 3 months to finish the renovations because being American, she can only stay in the country for 3 months. Her visa only lasts that long and then she has to go. So she has a limited time to get everything up and running. Now she tells Leo that she didn't buy the house to live in. She bought it to surprise her mother and to make her father's promise come true. He tells her that she is going to need a handyman, a permit, and probably a residency card so that she can extend her stay because the chances of her doing everything in 3 months, pretty slim. The reality of what she has done starts to kick in and she begins to be a little bit overwhelmed. And Leo, who is a sweetheart, he tries to calm her down. Now she goes back to the man who she bought the house from, a man called Enzo, and she tries to get her contract torn up. But Enzo says, no, unfortunately it's binding and there is nothing that he can do. He definitely saw her coming. What do you think? Liara thinks that the best thing for her to do is to fix up the house, sell it, and then with the money, buy a house back home in Chicago. Leo offers her some supplies that he has in his truck, things like sandpaper and paint. And when she sees that, she realizes that he's not just a guy who works in a bakery, but with all the supplies that he has, he looks like a contractor. And he says, yes, he is. So straight away, she tries to hire him. But unfortunately, he says, no, he can't. He's just too busy and he can't take on this job right now. Leo keeps getting phone calls from his father, which seems to disturb him a little bit. And as he drives off, he seems to be in some form of a panic and he stops the car and he takes deep breaths and he starts telling himself the things that he sees around him, like trees and grass and things like that. And by doing that, it seems somehow that it calms his nerves. So this is obviously a practice that he does whenever he finds himself in that condition. And it obviously helps. Liara names the donkey that she found on her property and she calls him Baci. And Baci in Italian means kisses. Liara goes to the post office because she wants to post a letter. And when she gets there, she finds one of the most miserable, sour-faced looking women on the planet. A very, very unfriendly looking woman. Liara spends the night in her rundown villa with no lights, no heat, and she has 82 days left to get everything up and running before she has to go back home. Leo goes back to Liara and he tells her that he's changed his mind and that he will help her. Well, of course. Of course he's going to help her. If not, that would be the end of the film, right? But before he helps her, he says that there has to be certain rules and they have to make certain agreements. And that there has to be certain priorities first. Liara agrees and she asks him, why did he change his mind? And he said that, well, he understands, he gets being impulsive because he can be impulsive too. So that's why he decided to help her. Liara, of course, is absolutely thrilled to get his help. And I don't blame her because I would be too. Liara finds a push bike and on her way out from the villa, she sees a couple and she waves to them, but they ignore her, they completely blank her. When she goes back to the post office, she sees that the letter that she had given the lady the day before is still on her desk. And she says nothing. Leo finds an electrician and Liara is over the moon. And she says, well, when is she going to start? And he says, she starts when she arrives. And it's like, well, what does that mean? Whenever she arrives, whenever she gets here, that's when she starts. Liara tells Leo that she thinks that the lady in the post office, that she hates her. And Leo says, no, she just needs a little bit of warming up. And Liara says, well, I don't have anything. I don't have anything to give her. And Leo says, well, you have olives, don't you? So they go and pick some olives and they make olive oil to bring to Teresa, the sour-faced woman in the post office. Liara brings the oil over to Teresa and she accepts the gift, but she says nothing. Liara speaks to her mother and tells her about her purchase, and her mother is shocked but over the moon that her daughter bought the villa. Leo invites Liara to come and watch Italy play in the European finals, and everyone will be there in the town square with a big screen watching the finals. Liara accepts and Leo is happy to see her. And it's at this point that Liara starts to bond somewhat with the town and also with Leo. Leo brings over a big box to give to Liara. And when she goes inside and opens it, she sees that he has gifted to her little goodies, things that she needs, like a torch, a warm blanket, a pillow. I mean, how thoughtful is that, right? That's exactly what we want to see from our leading man. Kindness and thoughtfulness. Liara has 68 days left in Italy. Leo advises Liara to apply for a residency. That way she can extend her stay and become a resident, because if not, when those 90 days are up, she's going to have to leave. And she says, well, she's going to have to leave anyway, because this isn't her life. She has a life back home in the States. Then Liara has an idea. She's thinking about turning her villa into a B&B, because her parents ran one back in Vermont, and she says that was the happiest she ever saw her mother. They go shopping, they buy things like tiles and things like that. And once they've finished, they don't really want to go home. So Leo says that he would love to take her to a place which is one of his favorite places. And he takes her to this beautiful view beside the lake. And he says that it's his mother's favorite place, so it's his favorite place too. Sourpuss Teresa from the post office, she comes around and brings a letter to Liara, which is her permit. And she says, you've got the permit. And she knows how? She knows because she opened it. That is something that would drive me nuts if someone did something like that to me. But, hey ho, Liara took it all in good spirits. She was just happy that she got the permit. Liara gives to Teresa the residency form for her to post. And in turn, Teresa gives to Liara a box with lots of letters that have been written to the villa over the years since it has been laid empty. The couple next door, who at first seemed a little bit standoffish, they leave a bag of clothes out for Liara and also some food. Now, what a lovely and generous thing to do. And I speak from my own experience that really is the spirit of the Italians. Liara gets a phone call from her ex, Kyle. The nerve, right? But Liara ignores it, and good for her, good girl. I would have ignored it too. The electrician and Leo tell Liara that finally they have electricity, and all three of them are really excited. The electrician, she turns on the electricity and whoo, suddenly there is light. But unfortunately, it only lasts for a few seconds before they are plummeted back into darkness. Leo gets a phone call from some business offering him a job, but he ignores it. Liara has 59 days left in Italy. Our leading lady gets on an old ladder and she starts scraping paint off the window. Then all of a sudden, wouldn't you know, one of the rungs in the ladder snaps and Liara falls to the ground. Leo comes, not knowing what had happened, and when he sees her on the floor, he immediately runs to her aid. This is my favorite scene in the entire movie. Liara has a moment of discomfort. I mean, she's crying, she's unhappy, she's in pain, she hurt her ankle. And Leo tells her off a little bit, said that she's crazy, she should never have climbed the ladder on her own. And she says, please don't yell at me. And he says, I'm not. But it's obvious that the man is just worried. Seeing her in tears, Leo asks her what she wants. And she tells him she wants to be able to condition her hair. She wants to be able to smell nice. She wants her villa to be perfect. And more than anything, she wants her dad back. This is where Kevin McGarry is every bit the leading man. Without thinking, he swoops her up in his arms and carries her to his truck and gently places her inside. She is still very upset and she's still sniffing and crying, and he says to her, tell me what you see. Tell me what you see around you. And she doesn't understand at first. And he says, look, just do it. It will help you. Tell me what you see around you. And she says she sees trees. She sees olive trees. She sees grass, she sees her hands, and she sees him. I mean, how cute is that? It's absolutely lovely. Leo takes Liara back to his place and he allows her to have a shower and to relax. And she says that she loves that shower and she wants the exact same one in her place. Leo has to go off to another job, but he leaves her with medicine, things to eat, and he tells her just to take it easy and to relax. And if she does that, he will take her out later on and maybe buy her some gelato, some ice cream. Leo comes back with a pretty dress for her to wear to dinner. And Liara realizes that his house is also a €1 home. And she's looking at the pictures on the mantle and she sees a picture of Leo graduating from Harvard Law. So now we know that our leading man is not just a pretty face. He's a whole lot more. Over dinner, he tells her that he was a lawyer at a top law firm. He was about to get everything that he had worked for, but there was only one problem. He hated it. He moved to Italy to help his grandmother who had taken a fall, and there he bought his €1 home, and he renovated it, and he realized that he was pretty good at it, and after a while, people started asking him to work on their home, and so he started getting work as a contractor. When she gets home, she sees that the villa has lights. Leo tells her that the electrician, saddened that she had taken a fall, had worked her magic and did everything she could to get the lights up and running. He also tells her that the fridge is on and that the water pump is working. Liara is thrilled to have water, and she thanks him for taking care of her today. And she tells him that she loves the villa, she loves the electrician, she loves Bachi the donkey, and she loves him. Ooh. There's a little bit of an awkward moment, and he asks her, well, what about Kyle? And she says that, she doesn't want to talk about Kyle right now. And he takes a lock of her hair and he puts it behind her ear. And then he says goodnight. Now in the next scene, we see Leo and Liara trying to convince two elderly gentlemen to do her bathroom. They are apparently the two that did the shower in Leo's bathroom. But they say no, they're retired, they're old, they don't want to do that anymore. But when they see that there is something going on between Leo and the lovely American girl, they say that for love, they will do it. And so they accept. Liara goes to the post office. Still no news about her residency. She has 30 days left to stay in Italy. Liara makes chicken soup for her neighbor, but the two older gentlemen who are working in her bathroom and also Leo, they think it smells lovely and they want to have a taste. Liara brings the soup over to her neighbor, who is also pregnant. And her neighbor thanks her and invites her in. And there they have a good time, they chat and they laugh and they bond. Kyle keeps on ringing. The two older gentlemen finish the bathroom. It looks wonderful and everyone is happy and everyone hugs. Liara and Leo, they go to the lake and they have a picnic. And Liara throws an idea at him and she says, why not do a business where people who buy the €1 house, they can go to him as a lawyer to write up all the papers. And once they've bought the house, they can go to him again to renovate the home. So it would be like a one-stop shop. Leo has some reservations and he said that he would think about it. And Liara makes it clear that she would be there for him. She tells Leo that it's over between her and Kyle. And he says, so that means that you're free to be kissed. And she says yes. And our leading man bends down and kisses Liara. And I have to say, it's a pretty good kiss. It's taken from different camera angles, so there's lots of movement. It's not the usual static kiss that we see on Hallmark. So I appreciate that. Kevin looks like he knows what he's doing. Later that evening, the two of them go through the box that Teresa had brought to Liara, filled with letters. And as they go through them one by one, Leo finds a letter from Liara's father where he was inquiring about buying the house. So he was trying to keep his promise. He just ran out of time. Liara brings over a pizza that she had made with no cheese. She brings it over to Mia's house. Mia is the pregnant neighbor. And there she finds out that Mia is in labor, and so she has to drive Mia to the hospital. Liara is wonderful with her neighbor. She helps her in the hospital, so much so that even when the husband arrives, Mia asks Liara to stay. So Liara gets to witness the birth of Mia's child. And nearly all the townsfolk are outside in the waiting room waiting to hear something. And when Liara comes out, everyone hugs her because they appreciate her for taking care of one of them. And that's really a lovely scene, and it just shows how important community is. Even Leo's grandmother kisses Liara, and she had always been just a little bit standoffish. Sitting by the window, we can see that somebody is walking up. And guess who that somebody is? It's Kyle. What do you want, Kyle? Now, I like this scene too, because usually at this point of the film, when the ex turns up, the leading man will get the wrong end of the stick. He will start being jealous. He will walk away thinking that she might get back with him. But not in this film. Our leading man, he stands his ground. And when Kyle presents himself as the fiancé, Leo says what? The fiancé that abandoned her? The fiancé that left her to do up the house on her own? Kyle is acting like nothing happened and like he can just pick up from where they left off. And I have to say, that's really kind of annoying. But Leo, he's not having none of it. And he stands up for Liara. But she says, you know what, it's okay. It's okay, it's okay. I'll deal with it. And she walks off with Kyle. And in no uncertain terms, she tells him she's done. When she goes back to the villa, Leo asks, so what about Kyle? And she says, it's over. And he says, it's over. And she said, it's over. And that him standing up for her has got to be one of the top 5 best things that has ever happened to her. Still no news from the post office. Liara has only 1 day left in Italy, and she goes over to say goodbye to Mia, but Mia is sleeping, so she says goodbye to the husband. Leo wants to know, where is home for Liara? Is it Chicago or is it Rome? A hotel chain representative comes over and tells Liara that he's interested in buying her villa. She tells Leo about this, and he asks her if she could stay, would she? And she says that she didn't know. And you can tell that he's upset by this answer. It's not the answer that he was looking for. And he tells her that he wishes that she could see that she was meant to stay there in Rome. So, suitcase packed, Liara is ready to leave. And she goes to get a bus to take her to the airport. Now this is kind of a bit funny. It's a bit ridiculous because there's no way that Leo would leave her on her own like that. Is there a reason why Leo isn't there with her to see her off? She gets on the bus and we see through the window the townsfolk running up to the bus, shouting something at her, trying to stop her. And Leo has something in his hand. Her residency has arrived. Before she opens the letter, Liara looks at Leo and she tells him that she got a really good offer from the hotel chain people. And the offer was so good that she could buy a house back home in Chicago. But that's not what she wants. No matter what the letter says, if it accepts her residency, then she is staying and she wants to run the bed and breakfast with him. And if her residency is not accepted, then that's okay. She will leave and come back in 90 days. She opens the letter. Her residency is accepted. Outside of her villa, there is such a beautiful view, and Liara tells Leo that home for her is wherever he is, And he says, good. In that case, welcome home. 3 months later, Liara's mother comes and she is blown away by the villa. She says it's exactly how she remembered it, and she tells Liara that her father would have been so proud of her. They are now expecting Leo's father's arrival, and Leo wants his dad to see just how happy he is. And Leo starts to run off a list of things that he loves. He loves olive oil, he loves her fountain, he loves the villa, he even loves Bachi the donkey, but most of all, he loves her. Liara buys a house, but this movie shows us that a home truly develops through relationships, shared experiences, and rediscovering one's purpose. She finds a sense of belonging, of love, of self-acceptance in Italy. Home is where your heart finds peace and acceptance, and dare I say, love. Liara, initially, she's an American professional, but when she bought the home, she had to dive into the nitty-gritty and get her hands dirty by renovating and scraping and cleaning and all that good stuff. She had to roll up her sleeves and get her hands dirty. Guided by Leo, he was able to push her out of her comfort zone and connect her to this new project and to her new life in a tangible, in a very real way. It's a reminder that sometimes rolling up our sleeves and diving into challenges head on can be the most rewarding path. I think you can probably tell that I really enjoyed this movie. So I'm just going to move through the pros and cons real quick. And the pros for this movie is the warm and uplifting story. It makes you feel good when you watch this movie. The beautiful Italian backdrops. I mean, the scenery, some of the scenery is stunning. I like how the leading characters are surrounded by the community and the connection of the community. I like the thought that for Liara, it's not just a question of falling in love and finding love, but she actually finds herself and she finds her power, and she finds out that she's also stronger than what she thought she was. And that in itself is very empowering. And the cons for this movie, I'd have to say, the way that it was idealized, the idea of buying the €1 house. It is far more complex than the way it was portrayed in this movie. There are so many rules and regulations and stipulations, it would make your head spin, and it would cost you thousands to do up. Another con would be Kyle. Was it really necessary to bring him back? I mean, usually there's some kind of conflict and some angst going on, but he wasn't. Him coming didn't bring anything to the storyline. So they could have left Kyle back in Chicago. Now, an Italian phrase to sum up this story perfectly and beautifully is: ogni fine è un nuovo inizio. Ogni fine è un nuovo inizio. Every end is a new beginning. And this phrase perfectly captures Liara's story. Her broken engagement leads her to Italy, the villa purchase, and also a new love, a new beginning. So there you have it, Villa Amore. I would really like to know, if you've had a Villa Amore experience in your life, and that is that you planned something, you thought your life was going one way, and instead it took a detour and went in the complete opposite direction. But you know what? It worked out fine just the same. Leave a comment down below and tell me your story. I would love to hear it. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, then please consider subscribing and becoming part of the Life Soundtrack family. If you're still here with me, thank you so much for keeping me company. I really appreciate it. And I can't wait to see you soon. But until then, be kind to yourself, okay? Until the next time, take care. Bye for now. Ciao.